So I made a post the other day that said the women who get the best results in the gym are the same ones dominating in their careers and their businesses. And the reason for that is because they do not separate the two. And I was talking about how people who show up with the same intention, the same energy, the same discipline that they bring to their professional lives or any area of their life that's important to them, and they take that same principles and come to the gym with that, come to their training with that, they tend to win and they tend to see results. And this is something that I've realized and really started to notice over the past year. And it's really how people approach fitness is usually a direct reflection of how they approach other areas of their life. And when there tends to be a discrepancy, that's when you start to not see results, right? So I posted that and it struck a nerve with some people. Cool, right? So people were saying, oh, genetics play a role, hormones change as we get older, fat loss gets harder with age. And yes, let me be clear, I'm not here to argue that genetics and hormones don't play a role because they obviously do. That is a fact, but that does not make it impossible. And I'm a big proponent of not using these factors as the reason why you're not seeing results right away. Before you do that, I believe we should focus on optimizing your current situation and optimizing what you can control, because the reality is you are always going to have certain things in check before you can go looking for external factors to blame, looking for external culprits, right? So when you're in your career or when you're talking about finances or any other area of your life, you do try to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you're checking all boxes. But for some reason, when it comes to fitness, it's like people don't think to do that and they look outside of themselves for reasons why they're not seeing progress, when really it comes down to a lot of times, most times, how you're showing up. Because think about it, if you have success in your career, if you have success in your professional life, if you're successful in any area, there are specific things that you had to do to get there. You did not just wing it. You planned, you tracked progress, you refined your approach a couple times, you moved with intention, right? You didn't just wake up and you were successful. You didn't just clock in Monday through Friday and just attend work and expect to be promoted. There were things that you were very intentional about and you knew exactly what you were doing. When it comes to the gym, it's the same thing. You can't just show up to the gym 5 days a week and think because you walked in the gym and you did some movement that you're going to get a certain result. It doesn't work like that. And let's even move away from careers. If you're even talking about financial goals, right? Say right now it's 2025 and you have a financial goal you want to hit. You're not just getting paid and be like, oh, I got paid today. Maybe by the next 3 months, I'll have X amount saved. You don't do that. You plan, you budget, you track your spending. You're not just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna mindlessly spend money and hopefully by the end of the month I have some money to set aside. You don't move like that. But when it comes to fitness, people tend to just wing it and go through life, go through the gym mindlessly. And what I realize is that the women or the people in general who get the best results, they typically tend to be, at least the people I work with, tend to be high achievers. They tend to be go getters. And when they bring that same strategic energy and intention to their fitness, that's when they start to see things turn around despite their age, despite hormones, despite genetics, right? I'm not saying that those aren't factors, but before you go blaming those things, you have to make sure you're checking all the appropriate boxes. And something that was also commented frequently, this was on my Instagram page. Um, some things that were talked about frequently were, oh, what I used to do when I was younger doesn't work anymore. But when you actually look at what most women who say that were doing when they were younger, it's tons of cardio based workouts, right? Especially nowadays, the people who are going through hormonal changes now and menopause, they tend to be around the time when strength training was not something that was really common for women to do. It was more so geared towards lifting 5-pound pink weights, doing Zumba, doing step aerobics. It was a lot of cardio based workouts, right? Number one, that's not optimal for you right now with the hormonal changes. You probably were eating whatever you wanted. You probably were running on very little sleep, which you could get away with, but that's not optimization. That's not crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. You were just able to get away with it and see results because your body was more forgiving. But now, as you get older, as your hormones shift, as your metabolism changes, you don't have the same buffer to slack off. You don't have the same room for error. That's just is what it is. As you get older, you have to be a lot more meticulous with what you're doing, how you're fueling your body, the type of workouts you're doing, managing stress. All these different things play a role. So as women start to approach menopause and even post-menopause, things are going to change. So the things that happen automatically are going to be, and this is inevitable, your body's going to be more prone to fat storage due to changes in hormones, right? You're going to start to lose muscle mass and bone density if you're not doing anything to maintain it or improve it. Your bones are going to get weaker if you're not doing the right type of activity. And then also, if you're starting to lose muscle, that's going to make the likelihood of you storing fat a lot higher. So when you really dive into what you were doing in the past, it's not that what you were doing stopped working. It's really because you were never truly optimizing what you had to do in the first place. So now, in order for you to see results, you really have to stop winging it and bring the same energy that you're bringing in other areas of your life to the gym. And if you're somebody who is, I know somebody's going to comment and say, some movement is better than nothing. Great. That's cool. You're so right. Some movement is better than nothing. But if you are here, you don't just want to move. You don't just want to move your body 3-4 times a week. Like, you want to be strong. You want to hit specific goals. And if that's what you want to do, just winging it is not going to get you there, right? So instead of saying it's just your genetics, it's my hormones, I really want you to ask yourself, are you controlling what you can control? So the things that you can control is, number one, sleep. Sleep is going to impact everything. It's going to impact how much energy you have. Your recovery is going to affect your metabolism. It's going to affect how much stress you have. It's going to affect how you perform, not only physically, but mentally. It's going to affect your decision making. Think about the times when you had to do something or to complete a day on low sleep. You probably made poor eating decisions. I know for me, if I am running low on sleep, I always drink coffee, but I want my coffee with a lot of sugar, a lot of cream. I'm probably not preparing breakfast. I'm probably grabbing something on the go. It's just a domino effect. Sleep affects everything. And then when you're younger, you can get away with being sleep deprived, but it is going to catch up to you at some point. So sleep is the number one. Second thing is the type of training you're doing. You have to be doing some sort of true muscle building workouts. And I'm not talking about HIIT. I mean, like, you do a hard set, and then you rest for a certain period of time. You're not just aiming to burn calories anymore. Like, we're talking about longevity. We're talking about keeping our muscles strong. We're talking about being able to develop power, which is really important as we age. We're not just talking about getting our heart rate up. Yes, there's a time and place for that, but there is a way to strategically organize the type of workouts you should be doing. You don't need to be doing all HIIT. Yes, that could be something that you did when you were younger. Forget that. That's not something that needs to be a priority in your program. There's a time and place for it. Not saying that you have to completely eliminate it or avoid it, but it should not be your main source of exercise. Number 3 is stress management. This also comes back to your training program. So when you are going through hormonal changes, you do want to be very cognizant of the stress you're putting on your body, not just mental stress, not just emotional stress, but physical stress. Exercise, no matter how you spin it, is a form of stress to your body. People tend to think certain exercises impacts your cortisol levels more than others. Yes, that's true, but that's only acutely. But you want to make sure that you're not applying too much stress to your body to the point where you cannot recover. So physical stress is something that we have to think about, and that comes down to proper programming, making sure you're not doing a ton of high intensity workouts all the time. so that your body can recover. And then also you want to make sure that this goes back to sleep, making sure you're getting sleep, and making sure that you're filling your cup up. A lot of times we devote too much to other people and we don't really focus on ourselves, and that's going to play a lot into your ability to manage your stress as well. And all of these things can make it really hard to lose fat, can make it hard to gain muscle, and it could make it really hard for you to get your hormones in check, which is going to be something that impairs your performance and your long-term results. Fourth thing you have to dial in and really think about, are you controlling your nutrition? So tons of people tend to try not to eat food in order to lose weight, but you have to really start to prioritize balanced meals, protein intake, and make sure you're hitting all of your nutrients, not just carbs, not just protein, not just fats, but also vitamins and things like that. So that's when, if you have your protein in check, you have balanced meals, and you're noticing you're still not seeing the results, then you're going to have to look a little deeper. But what I find is that tons of people aren't hitting the basics. Like, they're trying to eliminate carbs, they're not getting all of their protein, and then they're wondering why they're not seeing results, or they're wondering why they're seeing the scale drop, but they're not seeing the body that they want or the feeling that they want to have in terms of energy levels and things like that throughout the day. So you want to make sure the basics are in check before you even go and try to find another culprit. And then number 5 is making sure you have objective data to track. We cannot just go through our life and training mindlessly. You have to have things to track, because you don't want to go to the gym for 6 months and you're like, I don't know if I'm making progress. Like, you have to have something to track. You can't improve what you don't measure. That's like going to a job and you've been there for 6 months and you didn't have a performance reviews. You don't know if you're productive. You don't know if you're hitting certain goals. You don't know. And now by the time you get to month 6, you're a horrible employee and you didn't even know, because you just were there. You just were going through the motions. Same thing happens in the gym. When you are in the gym, you want to be tracking your reps, your sets, the workouts you're doing. You want to be tracking how hard you're training in those workouts, so that as time goes on, if you are making progress, great. You can continue with exactly what you did, what you've been doing. You don't have to make any changes. But if you do have to make changes, now you can pinpoint exactly what you can change. So many times people say, oh, I'm in a plateau, I haven't lost weight. And then when you dive into what they're doing, they don't really have any structure to what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They just know that they're going to the gym 3-4 days a week and they're hitting certain machines, and that's it. They don't know how much they're eating. They don't know how much protein they're intaking. They don't really have much data to pull from. And when you don't have any data, you don't have anything to change. And that's when you get stuck in a plateau, when really you just need more objective measures to pull from, right? So these are some things to think about. Just to recap, before you go blaming genetics, your age, or hormones, make sure you have these 5 things in track. Sleep. Make sure your training program consists of true muscle building and strength training workouts, not just HIIT, not just cardio. Make sure you're managing your stress. Make sure your nutrition is dialed in. Stop trying to eliminate all carbs and stop avoiding protein. It's not going to bulk you up. And number 5, making sure you have data to track, because without that, you're not going to know if you're heading in the right direction. So with that being said, if you guys have questions about any of that, just drop them in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.